as who benefits from him not being alive anymore. Well, let's talk to Errol Moorcock. I'm going to put my teeth back in. He's the American entrepreneur and political strategist. He was a spokesman for Republicans overseas and joins us now. Good morning to you, Errol.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me.
It's some extraordinary conspiracy theories online, including some retweeted by President Donald Trump, suggesting that actually people think it's rather unlikely that Jeffrey Epstein did commit suicide in prison. He had been on suicide watch by all accounts. He should have been looked in on at least every 30 minutes. Some saying even earlier than that, in a prison cell where there was no opportunity for him to commit suicide, deliberately designed to prevent suicides of this nature. What do you make of all these conspiracy theories?
Well, I mean, we've sort of crossed into a twilight zone of what's going on in American politics. It's, a house of cards like. Mayor de Blasio referred to it as way too convenient. I think Andrew Yang, one of the other Democrat political candidates, has mentioned just the obvious optics of it. I mean, to be clear, if this man is guilty of just a fraction of what he was about to go down for, he has a first-class ticket to hell. And conspiracy theories come out of these sort of repetitive circumstances of suspicious occurrences. And right now it's being used as political currency on both sides, which is, interesting to see the American left and right using it. They're trying to use it. But on just pure suspicion, as you've said, Jeffrey Epstein was supposed to be on suicide watch. He had so many political heavyweights tied to him. And the ridiculous nature of it all is that if you went on the internet, a little time machine, go back 1 or 2 months and just read the amount of people writing, just wait till this guy commits suicide, like jokes and jokes and jokes, which isn't a funny thing to joke about. Yeah. The internet doesn't really have much of a heart for that. But just almost the prophecy fulfilled that this has occurred right now, that's just the ridiculous nature. So, I mean, it's smoke and mirrors at the time. I mean, there's so many random reports going out. We can go and look at the fact that he was supposedly barred from Mar-a-Lago, Trump's club, for incidents with guests. You can look at the fact that President Clinton, for many years before even this, crazy incident occurred, I mean, he was tied to the Lolita Express, along with plenty of other bigwigs. You look at George Clooney today having some sort of connection or association.
Well, I mean, again, the allegation is made by some of the court documents released suggesting that Ghislaine Maxwell, who was described as Jeffrey Epstein's fixer, she, of course, the daughter of the late Robert Maxwell, former owner of the Mirror, who remember him, but she apparently claimed that she had carried out a sex act on George Clooney. Again, since I think it's necessary to spell out that since a lot of these allegations do involve underage women, underage girls and prostitutes, for the need to say that the claim on the front page of the Sun about George Clooney doesn't involve underage, because I do think that is such a serious allegation. I think it's important to point that out. But it does seem, the left in America very keen to point out that there's this video footage of Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein. We know they were good friends, but then there's on the right they're very keen to point out that actually it was Bill Clinton who was a big friend with him. And there's so many conspiracy theories doing the rounds about how this plea bargain he made in 2008, where he basically pleaded guilty to soliciting an underage girl for prostitution to avoid more serious charges, and that now these serious charges were actually coming forward. And again, so many of the court documents have emerged in the last few days as well. Some rather crucial documents are made public just hours before he is apparent suicide. People are saying it's all a little bit too convenient, but the reality is these allegations aren't going to go away because Jeffrey Epstein is dead, whether it's suicide or not, because a lot of these allegations are already now in the public domain.
Well, I mean, we would like to hope so. One of the things with the U.S. justice system and like in murder cases, for example, some high-profile ones that have occurred, when the defendant has committed suicide, they can't proceed on a lot of the prosecutions. Now here, let's hope that they, with all the information and research the DOJ and these agencies have put into it, that they've built a fail-safe. But I mean, he's a cornerstone witness to sort of corroborate any sort of data that might come around. So he could have provided insight to investigators that would point to those suspicions on suspect interference being tied to this suicide. Because without him involved, I mean, it's really going to put a damper on what they can do and who they can charge. I mean, he was sort of the star witness. And when we speak about this man's immense wealth and privilege and the lifestyle he lived, he had at least compared to other people, various incentives. Let's say he's facing 45 years, the man's 60. The guy at least had some incentive to perhaps make some sort of deal to get out of prison when he's 80 or something like that. Unlike a lot of people who probably could, that's a life sentence at that age. He had the means and the resources to be useful to them.
But also, of course, bearing in mind that Donald Trump has pardoned an awful lot of friends of his who've been sentenced to jail, could very likely have just been pardoned by Donald Trump just as an old friend. He doesn't. Well, I mean, this has certainly happened before.
Well, not in a case such as this. Donald Trump isn't out there pardoning sex offenders and child traffickers. Is there pictures of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein out there? Yes. I mean, I think there's pictures of everybody famous, and Jeffrey Epstein has existed.
But there's video footage of Donald Trump at a party with Jeffrey Epstein where the only other people present were women.
I mean, I don't know what you're referring to. Yes, he was around Jeffrey Epstein.
It was clearly a sex party. I mean, I'm sure. And if all the women were overage and everyone was there of their own free will, then nothing to do with me. But we also know there are a huge number of allegations that have been made against Donald Trump by numerous women claiming sexual assault.
Well, it's tough to tie. For example, a lot of those videos where there was conveniently footage, Donald Trump wanted to have footage there of him looking like a young playboy billionaire. That's part of the image that he was selling during that decade. Also, so those videos don't exist by accident. Like it's not like a gotcha video. On the other side, Donald Trump's this or that with women, just like we started off to clarify with Mr. George Clooney. Let's make sure that we're not trying to tie child trafficking and underage sex scandals to what people have or haven't leveled against Donald Trump.
That's a fair point. But however, I mean, I suppose an awful lot of people will be wondering whether so many people have had the finger pointed at them, rightly or wrongly, who are at such senior levels and such very, very rich, powerful figures on the left and the right, Democrat and Republican in America. It may well be in everyone's interest that this all just goes away now.
Oh, I mean, that's a fair point. I mean, think about this. This guy was under suicide watch. There's apparently been a recent suicide attempt, and reports claim that he was almost, claiming that he was attacked. Paul Manafort was under full supermax isolation, like he was John Gotti. So the idea that, there's even reports of camera malfunctions going on in that part of the jail. Right at the time, it reads like some teenager wrote a murder novel. It's ridiculous, and that's why when you make that statement, I can't sit here and say that anybody in America would disagree. Nobody in America woke up, read that, and said, "What a shock." That's the scary part.
Absolutely,
that's what happens, the culture of misinformation. It's really dangerous for our democracy, even.
Errol Moorcock, thank you so much for joining us, spokesman for Republicans overseas. Thank you very much for that. 7:31 is the time, still to come on.